I went to my leader and said, I'm retiring and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to retire and I'll figure it out. Which is why the Japanese people live to be over 100 years old, is they take their skills and their passions and then marry them with their vocation. It is housing, it's having enough housing and having enough affordable housing.
Change can always be challenging, particularly when you're moving from a very successful corporate position into something really, really new. And we have someone today, I'm talking with Wanda McArn, who has made a major success in doing that change. She's going to share some of the things she's learned and how she's approached it. It can be, moving from a full-time permanent position with a steady paycheck, with customers who have money and problems that you can solve, to something completely new. And Wanda's building sustainable housing to meet housing problems within the Raleigh area. It's a completely different thing. I imagine it can be a bit daunting, maybe a bit challenging, but also exhilarating, exciting, enchanting, maybe not monetarily enriching at the beginning, but certainly different. So, Wanda, you were many years at Grainger. You had a very senior position. They liked what you were doing. You had customers with money and problems that you could solve. Why'd you do this?
I know everyone wonders why I did this. To be honest, Dan, I love my career at Grainger and I still love Grainger. I was feeling a little bored. There weren't too many other positions within the organization that I could see myself doing. I'm very innovative. I'm always seeking new things to do and new ways to do them. And so I just started feeling this angst about doing something different and doing something different for the world. And in 2019, it really hit me. And I went to my leader and said, I'm retiring and I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to retire and I'll figure it out. And honestly, I did not know what I was going to do. I just know that since I was in college, I've always just been doing the next thing. There was not a lot of thinking and planning the next stage of my life. So I decided to do that. And I read a book called Finding Your Ikigai, which is why the Japanese people live to be over 100 years old, is they take their skills and their passions and then marry them with their vocation. And they live a long life because they're doing what they want to do. I wrote down some things that were important to me and helping to end homelessness, working with more knowledge about mental health in the communities of color, and then just working and coaching young professionals was something that was important to me. So I set out to figure out how to do it, and I came up with the organization Next Step Development Corporation to build tiny home communities for the homeless.
It's pretty exciting, but it's quite a different kind of skill set, isn't it? From going with a large corporation to a problem like homelessness is a very complex problem. It seems to me you'd run across multiple constituencies, many of whom don't have the money you need to solve the problem. Everybody has different kind of drivers. The number of names in your telephone must have exploded. How did you go about doing all of that? Is that a skill you had at Grainger or a skill you developed?
It was multifold. One, my background prior to coming to Grainger, and the reason they hired me was I was in sales and marketing. So I have no problem picking up the phone, getting a new contact, getting no for an answer. So one, I had a long career in sales, and then the career that I had the longest at Grainger was in consulting. So my background was business process consulting. We spent a lot of time getting to know customers, from how they order their products to how they stock them, talking to C-suite leaders, presenting to customers at conventions. So I had already had this background of digging deep into a problem. I wrote a lot of white papers and a lot of case studies. So I used that background that I had to just find out what the problem was. What is the problem across the nation that is causing homelessness to increase? And the bottom line is housing. It's not mental health. It's not any of those things. It is housing. It's having enough housing and having enough affordable housing. And so I just started out looking at that, reading white papers, reaching out to people in the area that were doing the work already, seeing if anyone had tiny houses already on the radar. And then you're right, my phone and my Instagram and my LinkedIn accounts have hundreds of contacts, because I would say, well, if Dan is following him, why is Dan following him? What does he do? Well, I'm going to follow him. And I'm going to reach out to them. And this is literally what I do every single day is reach out to people who have common themes or maybe in development or housing or mental health and try to talk to them about what my ideas are and why I really do believe that building tiny, which doesn't mean building a backyard box. I'm saying tiny home living, 350 to 600 square feet, which is what the way we used to live anyway. So that's what I'm trying to do is build housing along those lines that are innovative and getting the word out. And we haven't built anything yet, but we have definitely influenced the market. People call me the tiny house lady because we're getting the word out that we need to add to the types of housing available. And that's what my goal is.
You sound a little bit like my son, who's an economics professor, who said the problem is there's just not enough supply. And you might say you resonate with me. We grew up with five children in a house that was probably about 900 square feet, sharing a room with my brother, which I have to say wasn't actually the most exciting thing I've ever done in my career. One other thing that kind of resonates is you're doing what you love. It gives you a long lifespan. Sort of runs in the family, doesn't it? Your mom is not 100 yet, but I think in the 90s, you told me.
Yeah, she turned 93 on Friday, and mom had a sister that lived to be 98 and was still cooking for herself. So we have longevity in the family, and my mom lives with me. So that was a thing that happened that I wasn't expecting during my retirement. Just pre-COVID, I brought her in to live with me. So I'm a caregiver as well. But when I say caregiver, mama is very self-sufficient. She plays cards, still gets her nails done better than mine. We look at baseball. I was not a baseball fan. She's got me in the Yankees and the Dodgers now, and she's a Carolina basketball fan, which is how I became a Carolina basketball fan. So I am blessed to have a mother that is very active and keeps me active as well.
Keeps you active. When we were talking about next step in the small housing, you said you're working a lot with 3D printed houses. This is kind of new opportunities that you probably didn't know about before came up because of this thing you're doing. Is that right?
That's right. That's right. When I was early on in looking at what type of housing we would build, I really did not want to use another tree to build a house. I wanted to look at innovative things like container homes or 3D printed homes or manufactured homes that could be done quickly so that we could not be dealing with, tariff issues or, supply chain issues. I wanted to look at that. And one of the companies that I had reached out to, Azure Printed Homes, I met with the president, Gene Edelman, and we talked like 3 years ago. I saw a project that they were doing recently in California where they're building homes for people experiencing homelessness in California. And I reached out to him and he said, "Hey, Wanda, I was going to reach out to you. We're looking for some ambassadors and business advisors. And would you come along with this with us?" And I said, absolutely, because I do believe that is the future of housing is we've got to do things quicker using the recyclable products that are out there right now. So I'm excited to work with them right now and hopefully we can bring them to Raleigh.
It sounds like a really exciting time for you. It sounds like a good feeling of accomplishment. I really enjoyed speaking with you. I think I'll be following up when you get that first house printed. I may be standing there in Raleigh watching it.
Thank you. I hope so.
Thank you very much. Appreciate talking with you, Wanda, and welcome. And thanks for being a part of the Live in Canterbury Network.
Thank you for inviting me in. I appreciate it.